Hey, so in the last video, we went over the FluentD setup for this pipeline. And in this next video, we're going to go over how to set up Elasticsearch and Kibana. So both of these will be set up primarily just in the Docker Compose file. There's no other separate files that are needed. So let's just go ahead and get started with it. So we're going to be appending everything to this Docker Compose logging file that was created in the previous video. So let's go ahead and get the Elasticsearch part set up. I already have some of this written down in advance, so let's go ahead and copy what I have. So take Elasticsearch, and I'll actually just take all of it, all of the whole definition for it. All right, so for our Elasticsearch, we have our service name as Elasticsearch. The image being used is being pulled from this URL, and then we're naming the Elasticsearch container Elasticsearch, and the same thing for the host name. Then there's some environment variables that are set up. These came as a default when I was looking for some configurations for Elasticsearch, so I just left them as is because they're working fine. And then we have this health check. So this health check is going to be used later on in just a moment for checking to see whether or not the Elasticsearch service is up and running and that it's healthy. The result of that will be then used for FluentD, and it'll also be used for Kibana inside of our depends section to let us know whether or not it's up and running, because we don't want us to just start FluentD and Kibana if Elasticsearch isn't running, because then FluentD will have nowhere to send its logs and Kibana will have nowhere to pull its logs. So we want to make sure that Elasticsearch, that middleman, is up and running and healthy before we start doing anything. So we set that up, set up the interval, the retries, and the timeout for checking that health check. And then we go ahead and set the ports for the Elasticsearch service to 9,200, and then we set up our network. So I haven't defined the network yet. So this here is just saying that it's going to use this network, but I actually have to define the network so that it can be created. So I'll just go back over to my documentation that I already have and grab that network definition. And as you can see, YAML's very particular about its indentation. So we have our network set up now. So now we'll have networks, and we've called it EFK network, and it's going to be a driver bridge. So it's basically creating a private network for all of these containers to talk to each other. So we also want to add this network to the end of our FluentD so that it will also be part of that network. So there we go. So now both of these two services will be on the same network. And now I'll go and set up Kibana. So Kibana is pretty a short configuration, not too much there. So let me set that up. So again, Kibana will be the name of the service, and then the image that'll be pulled is coming from this URL here. We're naming the container Kibana. Kibana will be accessed through these ports here, and it has this depend section. So this is what I was saying, that why the health check is important, because we're saying that it depends on Elasticsearch to be up and ready, but we don't just want it to just be up and maybe not ready. So we want to check and make sure that the condition of the service is healthy. And if it is, then it'll go ahead and start Kibana. And again, Kibana will be on the same network as Elasticsearch and FluentD. So there are some things that I left out for FluentD in the last video that I'll add in here now. So volumes. Volumes is also going to be used. So up here I had defined that these different volumes would be used in our project, and I had said that there would be a log server to hold the logs that are generated from that are generated from the Go application, and from which the FluentD log collector will collect from. So it'll be picking up from these logs that are stored on the log server volume within Docker. So you just go ahead and set that you have the log server as the volume, and you just want to make sure you name the log, name the volume, because if you don't name the volume, what it will do is take whatever folder that this Docker Compose file is in, and then it will put that as the prefix and then underscore this log server name. So to be able to make sure it's just log server and not being tied to whatever directory this file is in, you just want to make sure you set the name. So like before, when I was running this, it was coming as configs underscore log server. So, you know, that's just one thing to note. Make sure you name your volume. That way it's consistent across the board. So that's pretty much it for that. I think there is one more thing. Oh, I need to make sure I put the depends for my Fluentd configuration. So let me go ahead and set that up. And I'm just gonna copy over everything I have for that part there. So yeah, so it's going to also be depending on Elasticsearch to start up, and it's going to be on the EFK network. And since we're doing a lot of setups within the files on there, I'm just setting up my my user to be root so that it has no issue with reading and writing any of the files when I go ahead and set it up. So that's pretty much it for the setup for the files. Just making sure I'm grabbed everything I wanted to grab. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for setting up the files. And in my next video, I'm gonna go over running the service and just kind of showing how all of that looks through Docker and everything like that. So I hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.